Everybody talks about the be-all, end-all goal being full-time YouTube, and I think it's great. I think that that's awesome. I think full-time YouTube is rad. I'm doing full-time YouTube, love it. I felt like it was time for some real talk though, a little bit of real talk just surrounding the negative, you know, just like some of the stuff that isn't easy about it. The challenging stuff, the negative stuff. This is hard for me because I don't normally talk like this, but I felt like this was an important topic. When you're pursuing something as hard as a lot of you are pursuing it, it's important to know everything about, you know, positives and negatives. There's a lot of positives. You hear me talk about those all the time. Let's talk about some negatives. First one, and this is actually since full-time YouTube, it has gotten better, but in the whole kind of pursuit of full-time YouTube, it was when it was really hard, so that's why I'm still including it. Just the tiredness, like I was so sleepy for like, I mean, I'm still pretty tired, but 7 months just grinding, 4 a.m., going to bed at 11 p.m., just not getting enough sleep. Some people can operate on that little amount of sleep. I don't think I really can, so that really took a toll on me. In a sense, there's like a light at the end of the tunnel with full-time because now I get to sleep more, but that also makes my upload schedule more irregular, which I'll get to in a second. Yeah, just tiredness. Tiredness number one. That one's messed up. I'm gonna keep that, I'm gonna save that one for last. I've also talked about this before, but the travel, I have always thought that travel was just such a cool thing. I always wanted to travel for business my whole life growing up. And now that I'm a grown up and I have a family, there's like, I love the travel, but I also hate it. I also just wish that I was with my family, or wish that my family could come along all the time, or wish that, you know, it's just, you're out and you're doing fun things, but there's this whole big part of your heart that is not with you, and that's tough. Prioritizing your video over your experience. This is something that I think you get little tastes of the whole, you know, as you just start making videos on YouTube kind of part-time. But it really comes into full effect when you're full-time YouTube, because you're thinking this video needs to be awesome, and because of the skills that you develop in the grind as you're pursuing this thing, it's very easy to prioritize your goal over your own well-being. So the experience is happening, whatever it is, and you start making the video better and your own experience worse, which isn't always bad, but if you do that enough times in a row, I think that can get pretty disheartening. That's something that I've been struggling with or have struggled with. Sort of along with that, and this is definitely a culprit of daily, not necessarily just full-time YouTube, but it's part of my experience, so I'm telling you about it. Just forgetting what happened yesterday and the day before. It's like, you'd be like, well, you have a video log of it. You kind of do, but like, I don't record every single piece of my day. And even if I did, that's still like, when would I even go and watch it? Like, it's not, the fact that you have a video about your day doesn't make you remember your life and experiences the way that you remember them when you're just remembering them like a normal memory. It's just hard. It's hard to remember. There's numerous times I'm like, I have no idea what happened 3 days ago. And like, my memory can be jogged. Like it's not like memory loss. I'm just saying it all starts to kind of run together, and that's a weird feeling. I like to know what happened, and it's a weird feeling to not know. This one, you're gonna totally understand this, but I feel it now in a way that I've never felt it before, and that's just frustration at, why is this video not getting viewed more? Why is it not getting better engagement? Why did it not get 1,000 views in the first hour? All of the different things, like, we experience that at every single level, so I know that you know what I'm talking about. But when your money and everything about your career depends on how well your videos do, you feel it in this really intense way. Too much time spent on my phone and in my computer and in analytics and on Twitter and on Facebook and everywhere. Just the interesting thing about this is Amber used to get mad at me when I was on my phone all the time. Not get mad at me, but you know, she would like give me an eye like, hey, could you put your phone down, or actually ask me to put my phone down, which is the best thing. But now that this is sort of my job and she knows like, well, that's kind of required of him, she asks me much less, and I spend a lot of time engaging on all of these different platforms, trying to at least heart every comment, read every comment, respond on Facebook, respond on Twitter, do all of the things. And it is. I mean, it's part of my job. It's a big part of my job, kind of this community building. So it's important, but it does come down to time and not having necessarily enough time to really do that and do everything else. So it's a struggle. This one's hard. This one's a hard one. But just wondering if en masse I am actually encouraging people to do stuff, or if I'm just actually one more distraction from them getting out and doing things. I think something that we don't talk about a lot as full-time YouTubers is the fact that we as full-time YouTubers don't watch that much YouTube, but a lot of our viewers watch a lot of YouTube. And kind of the mismatch there between there being a need to restrict your consumption in order to start creating, but at the same time, I'm asking you to like and subscribe and watch every single video that I make. I think that there's a hard kind of tension there, and I just want to make sure that at the end of the day, I really am doing what I say I'm doing, which is encouraging people to get out and do. And you know, just wrestling with the question of, am I actually having the impact that I want to be having, that I think I'm having? All of the overbooking, I can't even with this one, but the number of times I've said yes to things and then I get a text or an email from the person like, hey, I'm here, or are you still good for right now, or are you still coming tonight, and I like have booked some other thing, or I'm going to some other city and there's no way. I've done it so many times. I've just failed so many times. I mean, that goes along with being late. There's like even one step beyond that, like no showing. And it's another reason that I just have to say no. I need to say no to way more things, because there's a strong chance that if I say yes to you for something, I will just end up not doing the thing. And I'd much rather be someone who says no and keeps his word than says yes and doesn't do the thing. So yeah, that's just like, at this point you might be expecting me to say like all the negative comments. That's not one. Because as you're growing, you need to get better and better at realizing that people are just people, and they're gonna try to speak into your life in positive ways, and they're gonna try to speak into your life in negative ways. And the ones, you gotta kind of take them all with a grain of salt. Like, you're not bigger than you are, you're not smaller than you are. You just are, and the comments are the comments. Like, no, negative comments aren't a challenging part of this. I think they're fun. I like the negative comments. So feel free to just drop them. Go ahead. This is that last one. One of the hardest things for me is that now I'm constantly thinking of what's the best title, what's the best thumbnail, how am I gonna make people click on this video? And I've talked about this before, I've wrestled with this before, just feeling like, what is the fine line between manipulation? Is the line too fine between just trying to be enticing and manipulating? I think that it goes along with also, am I actually encouraging people or not? I think that, coupled with the fact that I'm actually much better at it now. Like, I actually know that's a more clickable title than that, or that's a better thumbnail than that, and this thumbnail is gonna make people click, and this title is gonna make people click. Having that sort of knowledge creates a new level of responsibility. I think it's hard because if I was just creating entertainment for people, like in a more traditional sense, of course, that would be easy. That would be a great skill. But because I'm using my own life to tell these stories, to have to think about, well, what's gonna be the most clickable thumbnail for this life story day? I think that that's what makes it start to feel very, very, very weird. Even this video, the dark side of full-time YouTube, and the thumbnail that I'm gonna make in just a second, like, knowing that I'm doing that in order to get you to click and come and see this, that's hard. That's something that I wrestle with because I truly value your time and I wanna provide value. Okay, that's all the ones that I'm sure there's more. That's all the ones that I'm gonna talk about. Those are the main ones that I'm struggling with right now, are the biggest challenges. You might be asking yourself, Cody, didn't you choose this? Why are you doing this if you don't like it? I love this. I absolutely love it. There's silver linings in every single one of those challenges, and then there's also just fantastic things about it. But at the end of the day, if full-time YouTube is something that you're thinking about pursuing, the one thing that needs to be in place is purpose. You need to find purpose in what you do here on YouTube and how you're affecting the people who see your videos. If you don't find purpose, I think it will crumble. Purpose is the thing that overrides every single one of those negatives for me every single time. When someone says, I started a business, I sold my first whatever, I made my first video, I've gone 50 days straight vlogging, whatever it is, the purpose that I find in encouraging people to do is more important than everything that I just said. If you wanna get this thing, let's get this thing. All right, have a good one.